demanded and got my firing because of this ridiculous nonsense 2 days after the election. Got 4 million views, and so Alex Jones doubled down on it because that's all he cares about, his views. Truth doesn't matter. What happens to this country doesn't matter. It's my views. And do I look good on camera? Pachenik came on with Owen Schroyer. Let me just read you some of this stuff because it hasn't really aged well. But I think it encapsulates the deception, the manipulation of these narcissist celebrities that has destroyed this country, telling people, hold back, don't do anything about the vaccine, don't do anything about the lockdown. Trump's got it. He's got it. Trust the man, trust the plan, trust the party. Pachenik, this is 2 days after the election. I was not given permission to say what I'm saying now, last night. This is really a sting operation. November the 5th, he said this. Trump knew this was happening. Eric knew and warned the public. We watermarked every ballot with what's called the QFS blockchain encryption code. We know pretty well where every ballot went and who has it. We reversed the entire game of war along the lines of Sun Tzu. Trump is brilliant at it. This hasn't aged well, has it? The reason he hasn't been seen is because the art of war, you pull back and you let your enemy make all the mistakes. You let them make their moves, and then you come in and expose them. This is what we've been told for the last 4 years. Shut up, you're a traitor. They've got this. It's a secret. We don't tell you anymore what we're doing. It's all going to be secret. Just trust me. Pachenik goes on to say, none of this was unexpected. All of this was expected. All of this is part of the sting operation that we're running. And let me ask you, do you think that this was unexpected? Do you think this was a false flag? Steve Pachenik goes on to say, let me tell you that 48 hours ago, not only did we put markers on that ballot, those ballots, but 48 hours they did that in all those ballots, right? But I can now tell you with the permission of the people in the intelligence community and elsewhere, that we have sent out thousands and thousands of National Guard to 12 different states. And I have people still telling me, oh, you better shut up. Steve is telling the truth. This is all going to happen on January the 6th. So I saved this for today, January the 7th. Washington, Delaware, Texas, Arizona, Alabama, everywhere. So now you have to consider and rethink what this is all about. The genius of Trump is that he's able to pull back and manipulate the opponent, not you, without the opponent even realizing it. He has said repeatedly, hashtag steal the vote for months. See, that's just it. He knew, you knew, I knew, we all knew that this is a crooked election. We knew that because of lockdown, they were doing vote by mail. They were sending out ballots to everybody. That had never been done before. In the past, you had to request a ballot. You had to have a signature. They would validate the signatures and so forth. No. We're going to blanket send this out. I reported about how people were getting multiple ballots in a particular state. Because, the way the jurisdiction stuff is drawn, I guess, they hey, I got it from the county that I live in, and I got it from the adjacent county, and they would show pictures of the two ballots that they had. Hey, vote early, vote often. Or you can vote late and vote often as well, because they extended the deadline. All of this was known. The ballot harvesting, the vote by mail, massive quantities of ballots mailed out without any way to track them, and they had no way to pull it back after the fact. Yes, Trump did know this for months. We all knew it for months. And they didn't bother to do anything about it. And so before it happened, I said, well, you got to ask yourself why. Why wouldn't Trump do this? Why wouldn't the Republicans do something about this? Because it's in their own interest to stop this fraud, to stop the election from being stolen from them. And in my opinion, they did nothing about it because they wanted the kind of chaos that we saw yesterday. And I said that. I said that weeks, months before the election. I said at this point, because they're allowing this to be there and talking about it, getting everybody upset, they're creating an environment in which, either way, half of the country is not going to agree with it, and you're going to have a large group of people in either half, the half that didn't win, are going to be ready to take violence to the streets. And that's exactly what they wanted. Just like they wanted the lockdown. So they could promise that when you took the vaccine, you'd get out. Now they've got the vaccine. It's like, no, even if you take the vaccine, you're not going to get out. Even if you take the bioweapon vaccine that Trump created at Operation Warp Speed for Bill Gates. Even if you take that, you're not going to get out of lockdown, right? Are we starting to see a plan here? Yeah, there really was a plan. Yeah, there really is a club, and you ain't in it. And there really is a plan, and it's not to help you. Steve Pieczenik went on, he said, then he made very clear implications, and I'll use common sense over my intelligence. In other words, both literal and figurative intelligence. And those of us in the intelligence community, be it who they are, again, what I said in 2016 when we exposed Hillary Clinton, we now expose, it was Trump who initiated this. He goes on to say, what was not announced is that we watermarked all the ballots. What I said, the QFS blockchain. And the second thing is that we probably sent some 20,000 or more National Guard 48 hours ago, and none of it was reported. This is back on November the 5th. None of it was reported. Yeah, none of it still has been reported because it didn't happen. And I thank the press for not reporting it, and others. See, he had the cooperation of the press. The press who was against President Trump, who didn't report it. So what in fact is happening is you're seeing a sophisticated sting operation. I agree with that. It was a very sophisticated sting operation. It was a very sophisticated psyop. It was a very sophisticated disinformation project. And I refuse to have anything to do with it. And you need to understand who the people are who push this on you for their own personal gain. A very sophisticated sting operation that was initiated by Trump. I am just a lowly, I'm in this game. And I was informed today, if I could say something. We have not been surprised in any way. This has been set up by Trump for a long time. This is our counter coup against Biden. To which Owens remarked, Steve, you've broken the biggest news since the election. I love you, Steve. I would kiss you on the lips if we were live. Okay. Then Pieczenik says the arrests are not just coming down from the road, they're being implemented right now. People will be arrested as of tonight, tomorrow, and then it will go on for a while. I do not deal with classified information, but they've kept it quiet. This is the biggest sting operation our country's ever had. Then Owen asked him a question about, but how can this be? How is this watermark the significance on the ballot? What does that mean? How is this watermark the significance on the ballot? To which Pieczenik says, we will use it in any way we need. It's a very sophisticated code. It's a very sophisticated disinformation tactic. So, where are we now? After what has happened, after they went ahead with this, after they allowed all of this to happen, knowing that it was going to result in half of the country coming after the other half, the planned chaos, the planned division, the massive clustering of people here to support President Trump, not their own jobs, not their own lives and liberties, but President Trump, because he's all that matters. He's our savior now. We have bought into this mindset that Washington and a president will solve everything for us, and so now we are suffering the same kind of despair that the left did 4 years ago. All is lost because our lives are over. The other team is in charge. But here's how they're using it. Already, you see the 5 terrorism trends to watch in 2021. And as President Trump has continually done, especially over the last 300 days, he has continually damaged and discredited the cause of liberty. Anyone who now challenges anything that the official government narrative or the globalists put out, now you are a dangerous terrorist, not just a conspiracy theorist, because now they've taken that term, which again, remember that was a term that was coined by the FBI to try to discredit anybody who didn't believe that Lee Harvey Oswald shot JFK from that corner with a bolt-action rifle, did not believe in the magic bullet theory put out by Arlen Specter, who was rewarded with a very lucrative long-term career as a senator for pushing as a young lawyer, bureaucrat assistant, the magic bullet theory. If you didn't believe that, if you believe the witnesses who said they heard other shots coming from the front, if you saw the Zapruder film, if you actually went to the school book depository and stood there, as some people who were trained snipers have, they said there's absolutely no way. If you believe that, you were called a conspiracy theorist because we knew it was just a lone shooter. No conspiracy there. And so now, the 5 terrorism trends to watch for 2021 is anybody who questions 5G. Anybody who questions vaccines. It's not only virtue signaling to throttle you now, but it is now necessary to protect the nation because you are a terrorist. You know, President Trump failed to protect free speech. And he didn't even have to do something overt as president. As the biggest celebrity, as a person who had pushed Twitter up way higher than they had ever been, all President Trump had to do was to use his massive following to go to an alternative platform. And he didn't do that, did he? Didn't create another alternative platform. Maybe he will now because, you know, now he can make lots of money off of it, I guess. So maybe that's the whole point. Maybe that was the end game for all this to start with. To build the Trump brand and then to have a Trump TV and a Trump social media after he invited and created massive censorship of anybody who supported him. But he never moved to another alternative platform, which would have been the simplest thing to do. Instead, he misled us. The biggest threat to humanity, I have a quote here in this article from hstoday.us. And again, it's on the Drudge Report, so you know that this is where the left is headed. 5 terrorism trends to watch in 2021. And so they quote somebody, the biggest threat to humanity, humanity's survival in 2021, chemtrails, 5G, the COVID vax. And so that is coming from a QAnon account. All of this QAnon stuff, all of the Steve Pieczenik stuff, you understand how this works, don't you? You take something that is true and you present it in a way that's unbelievable. And then you add some ridiculous, false, quote-unquote, facts to it to discredit it. And you push that and you then stand back and let your friends tell people that, oh, these people are just nuts. In the name of telling people what is going on, you actually discredit the actual truth of it.